Hello and welcome to Toy Polloi 2, and today we have an update on my A Mile of Mayhem Guinness World Record project that I've sort of been talking about for a little while here on the channel. It's one of those stupid ideas that I had that I thought maybe it would be possible to get a world record, something to do with toys, and what popped into my head first was the pun A Mile of Mayhem, because the evil leader in the masked toy line is Miles Mayhem, and it just sort of worked for me. So ever since that came to mind, I've been trying to collect Miles Mayhems, and as you can see, this is how many I have managed to collect so far. It doesn't seem that many, but it's a good start. In fact, there are 19 different Miles Mayhems here. Most of them are the blue version. At the front we have one slightly different one, which is the Venom's Revenge version of Miles Mayhem, which is a sort of beigey colour, and I think it's starting to look really quite nice as a little collection. So what is the plan? Well, the plan that I originally had was to try and collect as many Miles Mayhems as I needed, to line them up end to end, so sort of head to toe in a line, to create 1 mile's worth of Miles Mayhems. So how many Miles Mayhems do we actually need to get a mile of mayhem? Well, it turned out to be rather a lot. In fact, we need 21,905. That is rather more than I was expecting, but it hasn't put me off so far. So as you can see at the start of this video, we now have a logo for this project. I sat in Photoshop for half an hour, had a little mess around, and I've made myself a Mile of Mayhem logo. At the moment it is just a logo, but I may end up turning that into some badges or some stickers or something like that. So if you help with the project, I can give you a Mile of Mayhem sticker. As you can see though, we are a long way from the goal, so I have a few little plans and a few little ideas as to how to get started on this. I've set myself up a spreadsheet. That was the first thing I needed to do. That way I can keep a track of how many I have and how many more that I need to get. As you can see on my spreadsheet, I've actually started to break it down a bit. So at the start you can see that we need 21,905. I have 19 different Miles Mayhems, and that means we have a total of 21,886 to go. And then underneath that you can see that I've actually broken it down into metric and imperial, because I'm going to be working in metric because that's what I'm used to. So you can see in metric we need 1.61 kilometers. That equals 1 mile, and it's broken down into centimeters just to make it easier to work out. And then underneath that we do have it in imperial, but I've had to work that out in feet because I can't do inches in this spreadsheet. But it's a great way of keeping track of what is going on. Now I have changed my plans slightly just because I did get a different colour version of Miles Mayhem. As you can see here, the one at the front is the beige version, and that is the Venom's Revenge version of Miles Mayhem. And I thought that would be a great way of sort of marking out every 100 Miles Mayhems we've got. So again, on the spreadsheet I have a different line there which shows how many versions of the Venom's Revenge Miles Mayhem we need, and that is 219. So I think that would just work a little bit nicer if we actually ever do get to do this. You can see every 100 Miles Mayhems there'll be a different coloured one, but really what I want is all of them to be the blue version of Miles Mayhem. But there is a big question, and that is, were there that many Miles Mayhems ever made? I'm trying to track down any sort of former employee of Kenner to see if anyone actually knows how many of these figures were produced. Obviously with Star Wars and stuff there are some vague numbers out there, and it is in the millions that Star Wars figures were made. But Kenner's toy line mask obviously wasn't as popular as Star Wars, so how many did they make of this one particular figure? At the moment I don't know. So is 21,000 a possibility? Can I get that many? Who knows? So if anybody has any contacts with sort of former Kenner employees, or anyone who maybe works at Hasbro, maybe there is some information stored somewhere on a computer or in a file of actually how many of these figures were made, because at the moment I have no idea. So this could be an impossible goal, because maybe they only made 10,000 of them. That doesn't sound right to me, because I know there are lots of collectors all over the world and there must be more than 10,000 of these. Maybe there's 100,000. At the moment I just don't know. So if you know anyone who formerly worked at Kenner or has any sort of contacts with people who worked at Kenner, drop me a line, let me know, and maybe we can actually find out some information on how many of these were actually produced at the time. One thing I didn't really factor in when I was sort of thinking of this project is the cost of doing it. Normally when I collect figures I sort of have a price in mind that I'm happy to pay for it. Certainly with things like my Skeletor army, I've set myself a price that if a Skeletor is under £3, I will buy it, just because that seems a good price for a figure. But obviously with this Miles Mayhem project we need 21,905 of them. If I was to pay £3 for each Miles Mayhem, that is well over £60,000, and that is not a budget that I can afford. Toy Polloi 2 itself as a channel makes somewhere between £40 and £50 a month, so it's not a huge amount of money, and I'm only using the budget from this channel to run this project. So really, for me, every Miles Mayhem, the most it can cost me is £1. So I'm going to have to set that as my budget. And even if I spent £1 on every single Miles Mayhem that I had to buy, that's still going to cost me nearly £22,000. So it is a crazy amount of money. Again, is it even possible? At the moment, I really don't know. And is it worth doing? Well, you know, it's a fun project. So yeah, possibly. But at the moment, we'll see how it goes. Because as you can see, I only have 19 of them. We've not exactly got a long way. So what I want to do is set a first goal. And my first goal is that I want to get 10 meters worth of Miles Mayhems. And we're just going to see how long that takes and how hard it is to do. 10 meters worth of Miles Mayhems means I need 137 of them. So I've still got a fair way to go, but it seems like a doable goal. And for 137 Miles Mayhems, that means I need 2 of this version, because we're going to have 1 at the start and then we need 1 at the 100 mark. So I've got to get 2 of him, or I've got to get at least 1 more of him, and then a whole load more of the blue versions of Miles Mayhems. This is a crazy project, I know, but sometimes crazy projects can be great fun. And I'm just going to keep you updated as to how things go. This is the first update on the project. I've got a little way, as you can see. Hopefully next time I do an update, there'll be a whole load more of these figures to view, and I'll be able to actually start to line them up, because at the moment this doesn't even reach the height of me. I'm about 185 in height, and as you can see from the spreadsheet, we are at 139 centimeters. So we've still got about 45 centimeters to go before this even reaches my height. Maybe I'll do an update video when I reach that, just so you can see how far we're getting. So that's the idea for the project. It's a crazy project, I know, but it's going to keep me interested and it's going to keep me occupied for a long time, because I like doing stupid things like this. So there you go, that is the update for today. If you can help with this project at all, if you know anyone who works at Kenner or at Hasbro, then do get in touch with me. If you happen to have a spare beaten up Miles Mayhem lying around in your collection that you don't want, you'd like to send it in, please do that as well. It's going to be a long-term project, this one. I can't see this being done anytime quickly, but it's certainly going to be a little fun thing to do. So if you've enjoyed this video, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video. And if you've really enjoyed it, then head on over to my main channel, Toy Polloi, and subscribe there as well. And thanks for watching.